Hello friends, welcome once again in my video. I am Manish Maharshi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Dunga College, Bikaner. Today in this video, I will resume the poem The Last Ride Together by Robert Browning. As we have already discussed that Robert Browning is one of the most important poet of Victorian age, and he is famous for his dramatic monologues. The two poems we have already covered. The one is The Grammarian Funeral, and the other is Andre del Sarto, were also dramatic monologue, and this poem, The Last Ride Together, is another of his famous dramatic monologue. The first three stanzas I have already covered in the previous video. Now, in this third video of The Last Ride Together, I will finish this poem. Browning is famous for his immaculate dramatic monologues. He perfected this genre of writing. The Last Ride Together is another of his famous love dramatic monologue, love lyric. The speaker in this dramatic monologue is a jilted lover. He has been rejected by his beloved, but still he does not lose hope and asks her for a last ride together, with the effect that at least he will have a memory, a beautiful memory with his beloved. And there are all chances that the world might end in that ride and his love will touch the eternity. He has this hope in his mind. So let's see what the lover is saying in the next few stanzas. First, I will read out the text and then I will discuss the poem. Then we began to ride. My soul smothered itself out, a long, cramped scrawl, freshing and fluttering in the wind. Past hopes already lay behind. What need to strive with a life every? Had I said that, had I done this, so might I gain, so might I miss. Might she have loved me just as well? She might have hated, who can tell? Where had I been now if the worst befell? And here we are riding, she and I. The lover's last ride with the beloved has begun. In the company of his beloved, his cramped soul seems to spread out and expand in joy. With this metaphor, he compares himself with a cramped paper or a cloth, but as soon as the beloved permits him for the last ride, his soul seems to iron itself out in joy. The soul is compared to a sheet of paper which has lain crumpled for a long time. Just as the sheet opens out and all its wrinkles are smothered out under the effect of wind, his soul becomes fresh under the effect of his beloved's rejection. It's, it lost the cramping effect of grief suffered through the beloved's rejection. The lover was so exhilarated that his soul seemed to flutter like a sheet of paper in the wind. The lover categorically dismisses his hope of his attaining her love as a thing of the past. He says the hopes, past hopes already lay behind. He is no longer interested in his past hopes. But there was no use in regretting the past. Nothing would be served by the mental struggle of wondering if he might have changed things through a different approach. It was just as possible that he might have offended her and she would still have refused him. She might even have started hating him, thus leaving him in the most wretched position. Now at least she had granted his request for a last ride together and had given him this one moment of supreme happiness. The lover looks positively at his situation instead of despairing over lost causes. He is not bothered about what had happened. He is hopeful even in this situation. And in the next stanza, he reads, "Fail I alone in words and deeds? Why, all men strive, and who succeeds? We rode, it seemed my spirit flew, saw other regions, cities new. As the world rushed by on either side, I thought all labor, yet no less bear up beneath their unsuccess. Look at the end of work, contrast the petty done, the undone vast, this present of theirs with the hopeful past. I hoped she would love me, here we ride." The lover, as he rides by the side of his beloved, consoles himself that he was not alone in having tried and failed in achieving his life's purpose. All men in this world made efforts, but few achieved complete success. As they ride swiftly and the landscape rushed by on either side, the lover experiences a fresh exhilaration. His spirit seemed to soar up to the heavens, and in that moment of ecstasy, he saw the whole world in a new light. Reflecting on the fate of humanity, he realizes that despite working hard all through life, men have little to show by way of actual achievement, but they endured failure bravely. There is a wide gap between hope and realization, between ambition and achievement. Actual achievement seems negligible in comparison with the vast amount that still remains to be done. All men set out on their enterprises with the highest of hopes, which are not, however, accomplished. Thus, their past, which was so full of high aims, gave way to a present which was poor, for those hopes had not met with fulfillment. He himself had hoped to win the love of his beloved, but has failed to achieve his ideal. He consoles himself with his success of being able to enjoy a ride with her. And in the next stanza, the lover says, "What hand and brain went ever paired? What heart alike conceived and dared? What act proved all its thought had been? What will but felt the fleshy screen? We ride and I see her bosom heave. There's many a crown for who can reach. 10 lines, a statesman's life in each. The flag stuck on a heap of bones. A soldier's doing what atones. They scratch his name on the abbey stones. My riding is better by their leave." As the lover and his beloved ride together, he reflects on the fate of mankind. The hands are never able to execute every idea that the brain thinks of. Thought and deed can never be equally balanced. Achievement always falls short of conception and ideals. The heart desires much, but no man has ventured to fulfill all these desires. A man may have the greatest determination to achieve his ambitions, but may not have enough energy to do so. His body might pose as a barrier between the mind's hopes and their actual realization, in spite of his strong willpower. The lover says that he, at least, has achieved some success in enjoying the ride in the company of his beloved and seeing her breath by his side. He feels that he is better off than many others, for great efforts rarely meets with complete success. The statesman's devotion to the problem of his nation gets the inadequate reward of a short obituary. The brave soldier fights in the hope of getting everlasting glory, but his petty reward is a flag on his body and an epitaph in Westminster Abbey. The lover ironically begs permission to claim that his own achievement of riding joyfully with his beloved is much better than the reward of the great man. So, in this stanza, we see that the lover is hopeful of his achievement. He is happy that he is able to have a last ride together and looking at the world in a very different light. So, if you have any queries related to this stanza, you can write into the comment box or you can message me directly. In the next video, I will finish the poem. Thank you.